the beloved graduates. When I tell people that I was gonna do a roast, many of them think it's a terrible idea. I tell them, don't worry, it's not really a roast. A roast is not really a good name for this. It's more like a heart-healthy paleo stir-fry. And thanks to Eric Ellaby, I don't have to worry about being politically correct around it. I think it's so cool that all of you are gonna go to move up to the food chain and become like attending level providers. 4 of you are gonna go on to become family providers who provide for our small town family medicine doctor. One of you loves education so much, he's gonna become a faculty at an upcoming residency where he's gonna continue to torture interns. And one of you is gonna be mostly hiking, golfing, boating, polishing his cars, fishing, and occasionally working. I'm not gonna tell you who that is, but I hope he catches a lot of spearfishes. Well, it looks like I'm gonna start with Tony. Hi, Tony. Tony is an extraordinary resident. I've heard so many things about him before I even came here from all different providers. He's basically legendary around here. One midwife told me that Tony came in as an intern knowing how to deliver babies and deal with shoulder dystocias. A attending told me that Tony has never been wrong on his diagnosis. A surgeon claimed that he learned how to suture from Tony. A La Crosse Tribune journalist spotted Tony walking on water. Legend has it that when Monkey King was born out of a rock, Tony was the one who did the delivery and repaired the 4th-degree laceration of the rock. I mean, the legend just goes on and on and on. Tony loves to read books. His office desk is always covered with piles of books that he's currently reading. I will be recommending to the rest of us on endless morning conferences. One of them is called Managers as Mentors, Building Partnerships for Learning by Chip Bell. Another one is called Chief Residents as Dictators, Wielding Absolute Power by Kim Jong-un. Everybody tells me that Tony is a golden child, but I learned recently from a true source that growing up, he's sort of somewhat of a weird child growing up. And this is a true story. Once he wanted to know what would happen if he microwaved a cricket. So he caught a cricket and did just that. Nobody knows what happened to the cricket, and he never spoke of it again. I mean, Tony, if you really want to know how to cook a cricket, just ask your friendly neighborhood Chinese kid. You don't need to experiment animal cruelty all by yourself. If we interrupt later, we'll tell you about how to cook the delicious animal of the planet. Okay. Next, Barrett. Barrett likes to keep herself busy. She's a mother of 2, a busy resident, and she stepped up to become the chief resident when nobody else was gonna do it. She thought to herself, despite of how busy I already am, wouldn't it be great if I make everybody else's problem my business? I make 7 cents every hour doing it. Barrett is such a good chief resident. She can always coordinate difficult schedules, make different people work together. Barrett, have you considered running for Congress? I heard that a certain White House press secretary recently mysteriously disappeared. Have you thought about that position? As the chief resident, Barrett has a lot of super important duties. She makes people's schedules like a glorified secretary. She listens to residents whining about their attendings like a psychologist, and listens to attendings complaining about their residents like a Catholic priest in confession. She also finds coverages for services when too many people are taking vacation or calling in pretending that they're sick that day. More importantly, she had to make sure that at any given time, no more than 3 residents are pregnant at the same time. It's really, really tricky. And let me tell you, this residency is super fertile. Let's see who's my my next victim. Eric. Hi, Eric. Eric has had so much growth professionally and personally during this past 3 years in our cultivating residency. The whole 58 pounds of it. Sorry, Eric, I wasn't gonna sugarcoat it because if I did, you were gonna eat it. Eric really grew a lot personally. He came in as a bachelor and he wasn't dating anybody. Then there was the first girlfriend. Then there was the second girlfriend. Then there was the third girlfriend. Then there was figuring out that he was actually the problem. And now look at him. Eric has always taken it upon himself to teach me American culture. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I didn't grow up here. Once I've had it enough, so I said, Eric, it's really my American dream that makes me American. And he says no. It's really baseball and terrible puns. Well, first of all, the game of baseball is derived from England. And second of all, punning was invented by the Egyptians. So you weren't even in the ballpark of that. I was gonna come up with more baseball puns, but I'd probably strike out. Dr. Malone came up with that one. Eric likes to collect basketball shoes. He will always be remembered as the resident who has over 200 pairs of shoes. Eric, you know, it's great to be known for your shoes, but it's better to be known for your soul. Got Eric? Actually, Confucius said that. I'm just kidding, they didn't have shoes 2,000 years ago. Okay, Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. Oh, Chelsea is really good at her job. She really, really loves the hospital, maybe just a little bit too much. When she is on night float, she and David would literally move into the call room for 2 weeks at a time, like literally like not leave during the day. One time she said, David thinks that it's like a free hotel room. David, I don't know where you have been staying for your hotel rooms, but the bed sheets smelling like Pseudomonas infection is where I draw the line. Also, I like my wake-up calls to be some pleasant music instead of a stroke alert. I've never actually been to Chelsea's house. Someone was commenting about that. But a colleague once told me that a couple years ago she felt that bats were living in her house. Do you guys know that? Bats, okay. Bats prefer dark, cool, and moist environment. I don't know where you can find something like that in Wisconsin. But if that's your home environment, maybe the car room would be a hotel room for you. A few months later, Chelsea realized that the bats are gone, so she asked David where they went, and David said, oh, don't worry about it, the snakes ate them. Chelsea has a really big heart. She plans to take a month off every year to do global health mission works in the future. You relieve so much suffering and do so much good work around the world. But just remember when you come back to the United States and hear your patient complaining to you about their giant diamond earrings, irritating their earlobes, or that they can't lose weight because there's just so much food around them, don't tell them that it's a first world problem. I've tried it, it doesn't fly. Drew Moss, hi. Drew Moss has a lot of very needy patients, and that he's going to be passing down to the rest of us. Once I asked him why he thinks that he attracts all these needy patients, he thought about it for a long time and told me that it's because he's an active listener. Almost all of these patients are female, and none of them thinks that the rest of us is good looking enough. Drew Moss is a real advocate for interns. I had the honor of working with him on Night Float. Whenever we show up together somewhere, people automatically assume that he's the doctor and like I'm the social worker, the nurse, because he just has this aura of like I'm important about him, you know. I always bother him more than it bothered me, and he's always the first person to defend me. He's always be like, "Excuse me, sir, this hardworking, amazing person is a doctor just like me. You can't assume she's not a doctor just because she's an Asian woman. Her name is Dr. Angela Esquivel." I already know Drew loves to fish. He's always out fishing whenever he can. But if you think about it, like fishing is exactly like practicing medicine, except you have to like really deal with people and like be sober, and you're never off the hook. Drew doesn't really enjoy OB very much, to say the least. But like, hey Drew, like seriously, like delivering babies is really just like a lot like catching fishes. You just have to be not afraid to get your hands wet and dirty. The babies come out all slippery and the whole thing smells fishy. Okay, last but not least, Jenna. Jenna's from New Mexico. Hi Jenna, where are you? Hi. Jenna, did you know that President Trump was gonna build a wall around New Mexico as well? Did you know that? Because he doesn't need any new Mexicans when he's still trying to get rid of the old ones. Jenna practices radical honesty. Us interns always like to seek opinions from Jenna because she'll tell you as it is, whether you like it or not. When she interviewed here, Dr. Grau asked her what she considered her greatest weakness was. She said honesty. Dr. Grau said, well, that's not really a weakness. Jenna said, well, I don't really think what you think. I don't really care what you think. So then I was like asking Ryan for possible joke materials. Remember that, Ryan? Remember? Okay. So at some point we were like coming up with ideas, and then he said, well, there's always her diabetes. Hello, Ryan. We don't make fun of people's diseases around here, okay? I don't know what you think, but that's not the kind of residency that we represent here. Jenna has type 1 diabetes. Please don't be juvenile about it. It's no fun having diabetes. In fact, it's a pain in, wherever she can find a good spot. Plus, most of the time, I don't even think that she's diabetic. I don't even remember that. The other day, I saw her in a bad mood, and she was like eating a piece of cake. And just like how, the rest of us would deal with a bad day. I doubt cake was gonna solve her problems, but I thought it was worth a shot. Thank you so much for your sense of humor, and for the families and residents who gave me materials to work with. This roast was either gonna be my debut to the comedy world, or I was about to be defriended on Facebook by 6 people tonight. Either way, it's probably good that I'm not gonna be your intern for too long. You're the best. Have a good night.